The Twilight Saga continues, and if you're following along, you can see that I need to break up series books as the way that I work. This is the third of the Twilight books, Eclipse by Stephenie Meyer, and I read it in 2009. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads, and I wrote this about it early that year. This book has been the greatest of the series for me thus far, mostly because of the lack of superfluous content. There was much less whining and triviality here. For the most part, Eclipse focuses on the lore of the overarching story, and then moves quickly to and through the action. You should really only get this far if you are able to discount or ignore the fundamental flaws with the characters, though. You must accept the author's leaps as truth, or even this book will frustrate and annoy you. For me, this volume just had more of the good and less of the bad. And for me, what I'm talking about here is really sort of the world building. When it comes to fiction, especially supernatural fiction or science fiction or anything that is otherworldly, I really like world building. And there's a lot of people that in film and books and in art look at world building as kind of like fluff. But for me, the mythology and the lore and the kind of details that you can get into about the characters and where they came from and how they interact is some of the most fun stuff. And I know that a lot of people really want to just have action and just have something happen with the story. But for me, the whole world of where these vampires and werewolves and crazy things were living was kind of the most fun stuff in there. So I read this in 2009, and I felt like this one, as the third one, really kind of sped through the action and gave us a lot of lore. And that's something that I really love, is the lore of the stories. So I loved this one. In a couple weeks, I'm going to do the final one. And I think in review, when I think about the Twilight Saga, I think it's actually fantastic young adult fiction. And I think I'm, in general, pretty harsh on it in my reviews here. But this one, Eclipse, I think, as I mentioned here, was my favorite of the group thus far. 4 out of 5 stars, Eclipse by Stephenie Meyer.